You're welcome to the Policy Council. My name is Okweyemi Agbaje. Today we talk about Lagos State's Fitch rating. Global rating agency Fitch has just revised Lagos State's long-term national debt ratings to positive, from stable, and given them an AA rating. We'll talk about it with someone who should know what that rating means. Enjoy the program. You're welcome back. It's the Policy Council. My name is Okweyemi Agbaje once again. And my guest is the Honorable Commissioner for Budget and Planning in Lagos State, Mr. Ben Akabueze. He's a pastor as well. Ben, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Okweyemi.
Okay, today we're looking at this, it seems to me like excellent ratings report that Lagos State has obtained from Fitch Ratings. Can you just give us an overview of how the rating, before I go into the details of the rating, how did this rating come about and what process did you take to arrive at the current ratings?
Well, I mean, going back a number of years now, especially when we began our debt issuance program, it was important that we procure risk ratings. First of all, to issue bonds locally, you must be risk rated, but that you don't even need an international risk rating for that. But because of all of the things that we were doing and looking at doing in Lagos State, opening of the economy, opening of the investment opportunities to the global investor community, we considered it necessary to have an international risk rating, and so we subjected ourselves to the rating process, which means that
so this involves a lot of scrutiny of your books.
Absolutely.
It involves speech analysts going into
absolutely.
your records. Okay. Let me break down the ratings for the benefit of our viewers. National long-term rating, they improved from stable, the outlook, to positive. And then they affirmed your rating at AA. Long-term foreign and local currency rating, BB minus, and stable. Short-term foreign currency rating, B. And then the bonds that you have issued were both rated BB minus and AA. These are good ratings. So what's the significance of this assessment by Fitch?
Well, first of all, it's important to highlight that the ratings for Lagos are same as the national ratings.
Okay.
I think the rating agencies often have a difficulty rating a
subnational,
stronger than the national government. Otherwise, we had argued for a better rating.
Okay. But you can't be better than the country in which you are situated.
No, we can't. They actually admitted that in some, very rare circumstances, they would, yes, but they are not yet inclined. Yes, but we just think that if we're trying to do all the right things and some people are not, we shouldn't then be held down on account of that. If you note the recent enhancement from stable to positive in our ratings outlook, according to Fitch, is anchored on two principal considerations. One, what they call improved debt management, and also what they see as our move towards a balanced budget. We have continued even in this year to operate a deficit budget, but based in line with our strategy, it's a sliding deficit, sliding downwards. So from 3 years ago, we had 89 billion deficit in our budget. Last year it was 66 billion, then it's down to 40.
Okay. And Fitch talks about
sliding. Yes.
They talk about a balanced budget by 2015. I was surprised to see that. Is that achievable?
Well, it is achievable if revenue projections pan out, but it isn't something that it isn't something that we would
yes,
exactly, or trade off any real needs for. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Let me round up this section of the discussion. We'll take a short break, and then we'll go into the details of the drivers of this rating. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. It's the Policy Council, and my guest is Mr. Ben Akabueze, Lagos State Commissioner for Budget and Planning, a former bank CEO, a chartered accountant. I consider him my friend. You're welcome back, Pastor Ben. Let's look at the details of these things that Fitch has said. They said you have sophistication in management. They said there's improving transparency and debt management. They think you're moving towards a balanced budget. And they think that your debt ratios are stable, and they've been stable for the past 3 years. Can you explain the facts behind those assessments for the benefit of our viewers? What have you done to earn those kind of accolades?
I think that we've got the right skill sets in the government, and we've got a group of committed people, both on the side of political appointees and the civil service itself, and who have all bought into this vision of transforming Lagos into Africa's model mega city, and a global economic and financial hub. One that is safe, secure, functional, and productive, and everybody is driven by that, and whatever we can do to. So, as all of what they said is right. When they say that our debt ratios have been stable, we think actually our debt ratios have been improving. Okay, because we have kept a strong eye on it. Ratios like deficit to GDP ratio, the total debt stock to GDP, debt coverage ratios. These are things that we manage actively. We keep an active eye on them.
One of the things they say, and this is interesting because it's one of the things you get criticized for, but actually in Fitch's view, the fact that you are longer maturing bonds with fixed repayment schedules and debt reserve funds are replacing short-term bank loans is a significant factor in improving your ratio. Yeah. Meanwhile, this is what many people say: you're taking bonds and you're mortgaging the future of Lagos State. What are your comments on that?
The general public could be forgiven, I mean, for having a very negative view of public sector borrowing, because the fact of the matter is there's not a very good history across tiers of government in the past. But what worries me more is where people who hold themselves out as experts on this subject still make uninformed commentaries about this. Government is a continuum, and we in Lagos State have a definite policy that we only will use debt for long-term capital assets. It's a matter of policy. We haven't gone down. We actually tried to push closer to 50% so there is no chance that we will borrow to finance personnel costs or overheads. Interestingly, we have a choice: delay the delivery of the infrastructure till when you can afford it. But guess what? Number one, it gets more expensive because of inflation. Number two is, it's empirically proven that the investment in infrastructure propels economic growth, which increases your capacity to service the debt.
So the alternative is to operate the budget on a cash basis.
Precisely, which is not anything. And again, when you look at it, government revenue trickles in, especially for a state like us that is critically dependent on internally generated revenues. For those who you know, who get the bulk of their revenues in one shot every month. Well, maybe you can plan, you know, major projects around that, so you know the day. But we get our revenues in trickles every single day that we open for, for business. Therefore, when you want to pay a contractor, you want to realize a contractor on a major project, you're not going to turn into a daily paid whatever that every day, whatever. So we have mechanisms also that ensure that, you know, the servicing these debts in future, like all our bonds. For our bonds, we have monthly transfers to, you know, what we call the consolidated debt service
and
account.
That's part of what Fitch talks about.
Yeah.
Their debt reserve funds providing a sinking fund for the
growing. Now we have over 60 billion naira in that fund.
Okay, let's take another time out. I'll have another further details of this Fitch assessment, and then in our last segment we'll talk about Lagos State's budget for 2013. We'll be right back.
My name is Onyema Kinzago. I live in Lagos, where things are getting better every day.
Our school has just been renovated,
and they give us free notebooks too. Going to school is easier and safer for students like me because I can cross the highway using the footbridge, and I use the BRT bus, which is fast, convenient and free for students like me. I enjoy looking at the beautiful streets on my way to school, and the many street signs tell me where exactly I am. When I get to basic 12, the government will pay the fees for my GCE and NECO examinations. I am happy. My mom and dad says all these good things are happening because they pay their taxes. I hope to pay my taxes when I grow up and start working. Have you paid your tax?
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
It's still the Policy Council. I still have Mr. Ben Akabweze, Lagos State Commissioner for Budget and Planning, and we're talking about the Fitch ratings and Lagos State's finances. Still, Pastor Ben, interesting comments, positive comments from Fitch. They note the continued improvements in transparency and governance in Lagos State. They look at your fundamentals: large population, diverse economy, largest GDP contribution, 10% economic growth, a wider tax base, improving collection. What can go wrong? It looks too positive. What do you worry about as Commissioner for Budget and Planning?
I worry about, you know, the fact that first, being a sub-national, we are, you know,
constrained.
We are part of, you know, the nation of Nigeria, and that's the fact of the matter. And therefore, there are decisions that, you know, about how the country is governed, how the economy is managed. There are matters, security, and all of that, which, you know, can affect, things in the country. And, you know, once you're part of a larger, if there's a problem there, you might be insulated somewhat from it, but you never can be fully, totally insulated from it. And so, you know, that's what worries me.
And often you need federal approvals for many of these transactions.
Exactly. And there are people who, just if there's, if there's a negative out of, Nigeria, it doesn't matter that it is in some far-flung, remote place away from Lagos, but to them it just says, Nigeria. Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay, to be fair to Fitch, they note some concern, which I would point out and take your views on. And this is, they say you're building so much infrastructure, but this infrastructure has to be maintained. There are maintenance costs, and there are also huge costs of provision of social services, education, health, public transportation, and all of that. And they feel that your budget will come under pressure based on these considerations.
Well, the truth is the budget is under pressure. as a consequence of that. But it's not a pressure that was not foreseen. If you recall, in 2008, we adopted a policy that our budget, the mix, will be 60-40, capital recurrent. Okay. By last year, 2012, it was 53-47. Okay. What has happened is that as we have built more in terms of infrastructure and moved from an era of just building things to an era of building and maintaining things. And consciously, maybe it's something we haven't spoken enough about, and Fitch may be forgiven if they were not aware of it. But the maintenance cost, which they worry about, is likely responsible for that slide that we've seen from a 60-40 mix to a 53-47 last year, and this year we tried to move it back up a little again, so it's 54-46. This year. And by the way, that last year, our actual was dead on target, 53-47. So it wasn't. So it's not just
actual performance versus the budget.
Yes, 2009 was probably our best year when we achieved an actual of 61-39.
Wow.
But we have now what we call the Office of Facility Management, staffed by experts whose job is to make sure that public facilities, there's a proper maintenance schedule, proper maintenance arrangement, and that the budget provides funding for this. So we set aside.
So you're dealing with
yes,
that.
we're dealing with this. We currently for some MDAs it's about 2.5% of the annual capital cost that we appropriate to that fund. For some MDAs where like health, well, MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies,
yes.
because of the share volume there, it's at 5% in health and education, all the health institutions, education.
So you're dealing with.
So
this
we're dealing.
concern.
Yes, we're dealing with that. That concern.
Let me take a final comment before we take a break. Of course, they project your annual capital spending at about 250 billion. Now, that's exactly 60% of 400 billion around your budget size.
Well, for 2013, our projected capital spending is 270 billion, which so our budget for this year is just a little shy of $500 billion. It's 499.6 billion naira, and 54% of that will give you just about that, and then approximately 230 also for recurrent. Yes.
Okay, interesting stuff. Let's take a break, and I'll come back with Mr. Ben Akabueze for our final segment.
Okay. Hey, welcome, my son.
We are given free textbooks in our school today.
I thank God. I know with this Lagos State government free education, my son will end up being a lawyer or medical doctor. He can even become an educated automobile engineer. My son tell me, say, their school don't get beautiful building with a better chair and desk, new library, computer for everywhere, laboratory today. My people, all these things our children they enjoy today, now our tax money do more, they pay my tax.
Pay your tax. It's your civic responsibility. It's your duty. It's the law.
You're welcome back, Policy Council, with the last segment with my guest, Mr. Ben Akabueze. Pastor Ben, let's talk about 2013, your budget priorities. You've just told us the size, almost $500 billion. But what are you spending money on, and what are your priorities?
Well, last year at the 6th Lagos Economic Summit, which you participated at, if you recall, we came up with the path, power, agriculture, transportation, and housing. okay, as 4 critical sectors, which in themselves represent significant, growth sectors. But they are also key enablers of growth in the other sectors. And we said in the medium term, those are sectors we want to focus on. So the budget, our budget reflects that, that focus. But of course, beyond that also, the Millennium Development Goals, which we have adopted. And we really think there's no reason why, as a state, we couldn't meet, all of those, all of those goals by, the 2015. And we're set to, even if we don't achieve all, to, attain fully, at least, 5 of them, and substantially. But if our plans go as this is, we should be able to do this. So that then means that we've also got to provide, in the budget for expenditure on those, social services that you highlighted, education, health, and we're pleased with the trend in our education sector, because one of the things we do, very well in Lagos, even if we say so ourselves, is measurement. We believe firmly in the maxim that what is not measured cannot be managed. And so we do our annual Millennium Development Goals report that tracks what progress we're making. We drill down in specific sectors as well. In education, we're trying to, all of the initiatives that we're measuring the impact. And so we're seeing... I
had the governor talk
Yes.
about the improving results for
yes,
Lagos
yes. I mean, that's one of the indicators that we're tracking. We're seeing the pass rate in terms of school certificates, public school candidates passing 5 subjects with credit in English and mathematics in that one sitting in their school certificate. Over the last 5 years, we've moved that ratio from about 14% to 38.5% in this last whatever year. Yeah. So that's just one of the things that we're tracking. So we're pleased that the expenditure, whether it's expenditure in improving school infrastructure, improving teaching, training teachers, giving free textbooks in all those core subject areas, strengthening inspection, the inspectorate function there to make sure that that's the thing. And we've got, quite a bit of help from, the World Bank funded ECO, project. Okay. The main thrust of which was actually trying to, devolve management of the schools to as much as possible, certain level, to the schools. So the school-based management committees, taking a more active role in how the schools are run. That's proven very successful.
Interesting stuff. Well done, Pastor Ben, and well done, Lagos State Government.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. That was great stuff. We've listened to how competent management, especially with support from private sector trained individuals, and a rational global approach to management of finances has transformed the finances of the Lagos State Government. And we've also seen how those processes of budgeting and stringent management of the indices, including in relation to the social sector, education, health, public transportation, and others, has helped impact the results, the outcomes that the state has recorded. The outcomes are visible. A very good rating from Fitch, improving results in education, improving results in healthcare, and many other sectors of the economy. It's an example for the rest of the nation, and indeed for the nation itself. Thank you for watching. See you next time.